What is going on, guys? We are here at Rennsport Reunion in Monterey. This event takes place at Laguna Seca in Monterey. It is unlike anything I've ever been to. From the very start, walking into this, I was hit with the Porsche exclusive series as well as the new Porsche Classic that they are going to be producing. This is a 993 remake. It is the Classic series and it is gorgeous. These colors were fantastic. Even though it was cloudy outside, it still was a great color. Walking through the facility here, all kinds of Porsches from different years, different models from all over the world. It was really like a Disneyland for me. It was outstanding. And this particular portion of Rennsport were some older models, and as you'll see here in just a second, inside the facility here over to the left, it's actually a Porsche Classic that you can get parts for cars that are old. And I'll show you here coming up here soon, but they have the old oil and everything like that that you can actually obtain from Porsche. And if you look at this sign right here, it says that original parts from a 3D printer. So they showed some instances where they made parts for older cars, and now with updated technology like 3D printing and things of that nature, they're able to produce those parts again to make sure that they are available. The only other people that I know that have available parts for older Porsches like that are going to be Rod Emery's group in Parts Obsolete down in Southern California. I know they warehouse the parts for the older Porsches. Here I thought this was cool. It was a new old engine, and this is the version of the engine that is actually worn out and worn down. Obviously got a lot of use. Porsche's engines are very strong and last a long time. I thought this was very cool right here. See an old body and how these are restored, as well as some different racing cars. And so much of Rennsport is the racing heritage. Obviously it's at Laguna Seca, and as you'll see coming up, there are a ton of special cars that were there, many award winners. This was a interesting car. It was their take on Lego, and it was on the way over to this guy, the new 935. So this is based off of the GT2 RS. This will be a limited production run and $800,000. And obviously you have to know somebody to get your hands on it. It's funny, but you know, just having the money isn't going to be able to get this done for you. But obviously the Martini livery was great. This is also the Speedster concept, which was officially released in France at the auto show here this last week. And they're actually going to be doing a limited production run of that as well. Also liked the livery on this car. Love the mobile Pegasus. The headlights here, I don't know if you can tell, but it's frosted in an X. And as you'll see on many of the race cars, they do have an X on the headlights. I do not know what that's for, so if someone knows, if they could put it in the comments, that would be great. The headlights on this are low, and you could see it in the air dam, and they're actually very similar to that of the concept Mission E. And then I also thought that the rear here was awesome. It's very aggressive. It looks gorgeous. Had to let you guys hear that engine. Here we have a 919. This is very similar to the one that we saw down in Pekla. I was actually mistaken when I talked about the one in Pekla because the Tribute 919 is the one that broke the record on the Nürburgring. but that's the regular 919. Here we have a 997 Cup car, and the Cup cars are very special cars. They're very fast around the track. I love seeing that even though that was a 997, it still does work around the track. This is a great looking car. I mean, it just screams fast. There's a carbon fiber one right next to it, and I thought this one was pretty cool with the exposed carbon. Right next to that is a 996 Cup car. Again, it's really cool to see some of the older generations of the 911s still being used as race cars and still doing work. I think that it's a testament to the design of the 911. Obviously, I've said it before, and it's been said many, many times again, with the engine in the back. You know, it's supposed to not work, but time and time again, they continue to kick ass around the track, and that's why they're fantastic cars. Really liked the livery on all of these cars. They were very unique, brought their own taste to it, and obviously it's associated with each racing team. See the drivers' names on there and the different companies that they're associated with. Really got kind of pumped up for my own car. I have had some ideas of whether or not I'm going to do any mods to it. I know we talked about going to SEMA and potentially doing a build out. Got to stop what I'm talking about here just because obviously this is a 917. So, beautiful car. This is what the restaurant at Pekla is named after, the 917. But when that pops on the screen, obviously, you got to talk about it. This is the original 935. So, this is the old version of what the updated 935 that I showed you guys earlier was. And again, all this Martini livery is just gorgeous. I really, really like it. And getting back to what I was talking about with my car, the livery on it, I may do something with the Mobile Pegasus. The 959, I've never seen one of these in person, and so to see this one, and you'll see a little bit further into the video, they had a own area for 959s, and there was like 13 of them. It was pretty awesome. This is a 991 Cup car, and obviously you see a lot of the GT's influences and how they modify them. This car right here is so wide, and you'll see the Piggy RSR that won Le Mans a little bit later, but these Cup cars and these RSR cars are just so wide. They're great looking cars, and they are extremely fast. Like the technology in the headlights, it's very similar to what's used in the 918 headlights, and this thing is just super light. The paintwork is actually not paintwork, it's a wrap. And I was surprised that probably a weight saving matter, because every little bit helps when you're going around the track. This car right here is another instance where in person you just see how big and dynamic these cars are, how wide they are. This one was driven by Mario Andretti, which I thought was super cool. But this car is super wide, super low to the ground, and as you saw earlier, a lot of these cars, they need help turning. So when they get out there, they have their team helping them maneuver. More 917s, gorgeous, gorgeous cars. Another 959. And the 959 was way ahead of its day, obviously able to break 200 miles an hour. I thought this one was a gorgeous looking one with those wheels and the color. Here's another 997 Cup car, and really, again, very good looking car. And this right here was the Tribute. So this was the car that broke the record at Le Mans. I think it was in 5:13, I think was the time. This area right here was super cool. Obviously, the very first Porsche that we can look at are these tractors. And there was one on Bring a Trailer not too long ago, and I think it went for about $5,000. But super cool. They actually did tractor races out on Laguna Seca, just sitting next to this 911R. No big deal, huh? So I don't know about you guys, but I love me some RWB. Here's a 993 RWB, and I know that they're a bit controversial, but I really love how they look, and I think that the build on these and how one guy does it in the Kaizen is pretty amazing. Really like the livery on this guy too. Thought it was a great looking car. It says Interscope on it. I don't know if that's has to do with the Interscope records in terms of they do any kind of sponsoring, but I thought it was pretty cool. This right here is gorgeous. Again, I love the Pegasus on that. These 356s are just amazing. Someday I hope to have one. They're just beautiful, beautiful cars. Wanted to do some slow-mos here just to give you some more artistic shots. I had never seen some of these. I'm not going to profess to be an expert at all of these cars, but I think that certainly getting exposed to the different types and really having an appreciation for each model, this is what Rennsport's all about, and it really just opens your eyes to things that you may have not experienced, and to be able to do so in person is just really fantastic. So under this Chopard tent right here, each one of the cars, I guess, is some kind of award winner. So these are famous cars that were in there, and again, to see all of them was very, very special. I really have a love for the Carrera GT. I mean, who doesn't, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful car. It was actually my favorite car before the 918 came out, and the 918 is now my favorite car of all time. But these are fantastic cars. I've never had the pleasure of driving one. I hear they're a bit tricky, and the clutch is 30 grand, so you got to know what you're doing. I also liked the color of this 993. The 993 actually holds a special place in my heart. It's a beautiful car, and I would really like to own one of those someday as well. I really thought that color was nice. This was the 959 section that I was telling you guys about, and originally I was a little upset because I thought that I didn't get the footage of it, but it was amazing. Like I said, I've never seen one of these in person, and then to be overwhelmed by the amount that they had there was fantastic. This car was very much ahead of its time. Some of the features that it offered in today's cars that it did years and years ago. And again, it went over 200 miles an hour, which at that time was basically unheard of. So it was very cool to see such an iconic car there and to see so many of them. This was a piggy-wrapped Panamera, the Sport Turismo. I thought that was pretty cool. They had a lot of different piggy liveries, and even one of the tractors had it, and I thought that was pretty cool. This is a turbo, but wait for it. Wait for it. Bam, carbon fiber wheels. That is an $18,000 upgrade, and in that chalk it was fantastic. This lady here was painting live pictures at the event. I thought it was pretty cool. This was inside the Porsche shop, and they had different areas you could buy different things. This is Porsche design, but there was actually a waiting line to get into the shop. So that's a pretty good business model when you have people waiting in line to spend money with you. This was actually out in the track area, and I actually thought you could buy better things out in that area at the different vendors. GMG was out there racing with their things, and then we have Gunther Works. Gunther Works, I believe, is a subsidiary of Warsteiner. I think it's the same ownership group. This is a completely carbon fiber body here on this that's just waiting for an owner. From what I understand, they had 2 builds left. So if you have $500,000 laying around and you want yourself a Gunther Works, one can be yours. They do have a couple of builds that are left. This red one right here is gorgeous. I saw a different one at the Works reunion event, and that was actually a wrap that was done on that one. But the red one is spectacular. This is exclusive option. Such a beautiful job that they do with these interiors and the custom leather parts. This is Champion, and the wheel company Champion, and I really like the gold wheels. Kind of feel like gold is the new black for wheels. This is on a GT3 RS, and this is a turbo, and on the turbo you have 20-inch wheels. I do like the size of the 21-inch wheels. I do like the size of the 21s, but I didn't like the finish on it. It is like a chrome or polished finish. This is on the Expel booth, and this is a GT3 RS, the 991.2, covered in Expel Stealth. So Expel Stealth gives you like a matte finish that you normally wouldn't have. It takes a glossy car and makes it matte. This is their normal, just their clear finish, and I thought this was a very nice color, and the wheels on that were nice too. This one kind of snuck up on me. It's just a Singer chilling in the parking lot. I mean, that says something. It's a beautiful, beautiful car, and it was just amazing to see in person. And here we have a group of 993s. Really do love the 993s. I love the 964s as well. I think those are my two favorite air-cooled versions, but these are beautiful cars, and it's interesting to see how the 992 coming out takes some of the design cues from some of the older models. This right here was just in the corral. There was sectioned based off of the year. This is obviously 991s. But it was cool to see the different colors. I do really like the graphite blue. I think it gives off a gray look, but then also blue, so it's a very nice color. And there was a lot of different colors and different liveries and things like that within this corral section of the event. This 991.1 GT3 RS right here, I had to go take a look at in person. I assumed that it was a wrap, but when I got up close to it, I do not believe it was a wrap. I think this was actually paintwork that they did on it. This right here is obviously Carrera GT, and this I deemed Murderer's Row, and Murderer's Row has to be in slow-mo so you can really get an appreciation for this. That was a chalk color 918, which to me was my favorite one there. Again, that chalk color I've really fallen in love with. The GT2 RS obviously next to a 911R, and this section again was just filled with 911Rs. It was filled with 918s and the GT2 RS. It also had a very special car, and there she is, the Le Mans winner, the Piggy herself. Super wide car, super cool car. I was very happy to be able to witness it in person, but this is the one that won 24-hour race at Le Mans. Had an opportunity to chat with the guys over at Cobb. They were talking about their tune. They are still working on a tune version to where you don't have to take the ECU out and send it to them. Obviously, my concern there is being able to tell that it has been tuned. Here is another Singer. This is over by the Momo booth, and Momo is actually doing a build with Rod Emery, and that is going to be seen. Well, that's a Emery. Here's an Emery 356 right here, but I forgot to get footage, or lost the footage that I took of the one over to the left right there. You can see that was a special build that Rod Emery's doing. This is the Michelin group, and they had a similar version over at the Works Reunion event in Monterey with a different color. Some of them are paint to sample, some of them are not. The first two were not paint to sample, they're just the colors that are offered in the GT2 RS and the GT3 RS. This black roof over here was off the hook, as well as the one next to it. I really liked that one as well, but I mean, look at that thing. That is just ridiculous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And that right there is the Singer engine. So that's the new Singer that came out. I believe it's like 1.7. There it is right there. Such a beautiful car $1.7 million, and that can be yours. The amount of detail that they put into this thing is just tremendous, and it's really beautiful in person. Wanted to get some shots of these two in the sun. The one I took earlier was in the clouds, so I was hoping you could get a better indication of the paint on those. So I'd like to close this video just kind of with my thoughts on the event as a whole. This event is only done once every 3 years, and I was really glad that I went to it, and it really is the epitome of why I call this channel the Church of Porsche, because it was all about community, it was all about just celebration of Porsche, and it's such a fantastic event. I highly recommend you guys going if you have the opportunity. I will be back.